Fbdi approach to load the data. Okay. So the important points which you have to remember is
Recording in progress.
There are two ESL jobs are there. One is load interface file for import. Another one is base table ESS job. So this is interface table ESS job. The interface table is staging table like HDL guys. So here base table is same like as in HDL also we have base table set. So it also we have base tables are there. So base table ESL job. So base table ESL job name will change. Base table ESL job names will change. Base table ESL job. Base table CSS job will change. Based on the business. Okay.
Vamshi, that is here ESS jobs means standard jobs.
Standard jobs. ESL job means standard ESL. Yesterday I explained ESL job. What is the purpose? So standard ESL jobs are there. On top of that, we can create our own ESL jobs also. Yesterday class, did you attend it?
Yeah, I have attended.
Oh. Go through that video. I think I explained. Okay. So load interface file for importing the ESL job name, base table ESL job. So based on the business object, this base table ESL job will be changed. Okay. So now guys here, let's say we have downloaded the supplier business object. So where we have downloaded supplier business object. So from where we have downloaded OER, Fusion Apps OER. So yesterday class I have shown how to download the business object. So after you download guys, make sure that right click here, show more options, properties, unblock. It is block mode, so you need to make sure that unblock. Play. Okay. So now open this. Open this template. So first we have entered the sample data in the yesterday class. First we have entered the sample data in the yesterday class and we have identified the mandatory columns. We have identified the mandatory columns. And we will read the instructions yesterday. So supplier interface process allows you to load the suppliers from an external system. The process validates the data into interface table and moves the data into base tables. So I already told you now. So first it will load the data in interface table and moves the data into base tables. So these are the base tables for the suppliers. User suppliers, agent parties, user organization profiles. These are the base tables. So this is the interface table name. For loading the data into interface table, so we need to use the control file. For loading the data into interface table, we need to use the control file. So prepare the data using corresponding worksheet in this template. See this section. So this is the template worksheet template. Okay. So refer to the bubble text each column header, either the detailed instructions on preparing the data in the column or for a description of the data type of the column required. So every column, if you look at every column, so it contains the description. Here, if I put here cursor, it is showing column name, data type, description, import action, attribute value is mandatory for create action. Attribute value is mandatory for create action. To find so everything, if you put the cursor, there is a one yellow color pop-up page coming, right? So that will give the description of the column. Every column it is like that. For example, if you see vendor type, for every column you will see the description of the column information, data type. So what is the purpose of this column? So that everything in all the information will be there. That is what he mentioned here. Next, loading the data. After you finish preparing the data, there is a after you finish preparing the data, there is a generate CSV file option in there. So when you press the generate CSV file button, so it will generate the zip file. On zip file content, CSV files will be there. Once again, I'm going to guess. So after you finish the preparing the data, so here after you prepare the data here, so there is a generate CSV file option in there. So once you press the generate CSV file button, so it will generate one zip file. So that zip file contains the CSV file. Same way, after you prepare the data file in the HDL, you are going to press the convert to zip file, right? Same way, you need to press this button to convert into zip file, and that zip file contains the CSV file. Information loading the data into CSV file into interface table. So we need to use this documentation. So first overview, preparing the table data, loading the data. So these 3 points, any question you can ask me, guys. So you also read, you can feel free to ask me anything. Anyway, we will see step by step data migration, but theoretically I'm asking you. Understand, right? So these 3 points, overview, preparing the table data, loading the data. With these points. So next is Excel template format. Each interface table is represented as separate Excel sheet. So each interface table is represented as separate Excel sheet. So that means for this Excel template format, for example, now we have only one business object, one sheet will be there. Okay. Sometimes supplier business object, we have only one sheet. Supplier business object, we have only one sheet. Only one sheet. Supplier business object, we have only one sheet. That will represent as one table. Some business objects, we have multiple sheets. Some business objects we have multiple sheets. Some business objects we have multiple sheets also will be there. So when it comes to the multiple sheets, some business objects we have multiple sheets also will be there. So in which case multiple sheets will be there? In which case multiple sheets will be there?
Parent
So when
child.
child relation. Now, parent and child relation, we have multiple sheets. So, but when we have a parent and child also, each sheet it will be represented as one interface table. For example, one parent, two childs are there. Two childs are there. Hmm? One parent, two childs are there. In this case, one parent, two childs are there. In this case, it will maintain. In this case, we will have three interface tables. That is the reason I am telling you. One parent, one interface table. Two childs, two interface tables are there. That means each sheet represented as one interface table. So in the supplier case, we have only one sheet is there. Then that means only one interface table is there. If you have multiple sheets, will be there. Multiple interface tables are there. So that is what they written here. Each interface table is represented as separate Excel sheet. Okay. So the first row in each sheet contain the column header that represent interface table column names. So whatever the columns are there, these column headers that will represent as the interface table. Interface table and columns. The columns are in order that the control file expects them to be in the data file. The columns are in the order that the control file expects them to be in the data file. So do not change the order of the columns in the Excel sheet. Changing the order of the columns will cause the load process will be fail. So whatever the columns order, this order do not change this. Whatever the Oracle given the column names, so that columns you need to maintain like this. So you cannot change. So that is what they are telling in here. Read this one. The first row in each sheet contain the column header that represent the interface table column names. So interface table column names and this sheet column should match. Yesterday I told you, right? So where you see interface table column names? Yesterday I told you that control file. I told you, no? In the control file, so you will see the column names for the interface table. The columns are in the order that the control file expects them to data file. So do not change the order. Okay. So you can hide the column that you do not intend to use, but you cannot delete the columns. So deleting the columns will cause the load process will be fail. Understand or not? Double text we discussed. Each column having bubble text. So what I mean by bubble text I covered, right? So if you look at this one, okay, you must take date control file that associated database column. So date columns must be year, month, package HTML. Okay. Amount column must not contain a thousand separator and must be use a period and the decimal separator. Amount column must not contain a thousand separators and must use a period and the decimal separator. Okay. So amount columns must not contain the thousand separator and must use a thousand separator or decimal separator. You know thousand separator, right? Thousand separator means, for example, if it is 10,000, it should use 10, 10,000.00. 10,000.00. Columns have been formatted where applicable to match the expected data type to eliminate the data entry errors. Columns have been formatted where applicable to match the expected data type to eliminate the data entry errors. So for example, if it is varchar, you can enter the varchar. If it is number, enter the number. So based on the data type format, you have to enter the data. So some okay, some columns it will store into ID values guys in the backend. So I think this I will tell you. This I will tell you ID values. What I mean by ID value, I will tell you later. Okay. So recommended for loading the supplier data. In populating the supplier interface table, the supplier name is required and will be used to associated child entities. Okay. In populating supplier interface table, the supplier name is required and will be used to associated child entities such as supplier side and assignments with the supplier. They ensure that the supplier name used in the subsequent uploads, supplier side and site assignments exactly match the supplier name of the imported supplier. So what is the meaning of this one? So when you are loading the supplier, whatever the supplier name you are using, right? So this supplier name should be matched into supplier sites, supplier site assignments. Separate sheets will be there. Separate Fbdi business object will be there. Separate Fbdi business objects will be there. So please ensure that the supplier name used in the subsequent upload. That means, so whatever the supplier name used in this template, subsequent business objects, supplier site and site assignment, this name should be matched there also, including the spaces. Understand or not? Okay. So whatever the supplier name you are using, right? Same name we have to use in the supplier addresses, supplier site, business objects, including spaces also. Okay. Remember this point. You can use the supplier import process to import new suppliers or update existing supplier by using import action, create or update respectively. You can use the supplier import process to import the new suppliers or update existing suppliers by using import action of create or update supplier respectively. So same like as in HDL, we have a merge command, right? But here we have separately create means insert, update means update the data. Both we will see, don't worry. So create we can see and update also we can see. So that will be referred by import action. The following note applies to any attribute in the template that are defined choice list containing list of values selected from. So what do you mean by choice list? So here, if you see the business relationship, so this contains the choice list. So that means you cannot enter new value here. So the value should be come from choice list only. Understand or not? Supplier type, tax organization type. So wherever the choice list is there, so you cannot enter the new value. So this value should be exist from the choice list only. That is what we have to understand. Okay. So after successfully load the data, you must submit the import supplier process to import the data into application tables that create the supplier. After you successfully load the data, you must first interface table once the data load, then you must submit the import supplier process to import the data into application tables and create the suppliers. Understand or not? So this is the revision history, guys. So for example, if you see 24C, 24D, So they added the new column AI. So add a note in the column AI for payment method for with payment mode as virtual card. So that means every version they will add some separate columns or maybe some data type changes. So if you see 21D, varchar to 150 character is there, but they change to varchar to 250 characters. So this is called revision history. So when any client facing some issue, right? So they will write SR with Oracle to increase the column size like that. So based on the SR raised with the from the clients, they will change the data types, new columns like that. Understand or not? So every business object we have to read the instructions before we load the data into tables. So now we will prepare the data. First step is prepare the data. Yesterday we entered sample data in the sample data, right? Yesterday we entered the sample data in the front end, right? We'll enter the sample data in the sheet. So what I will do? Remove this data. So same way in HDL we have a this one, right? What is that? DFF columns. So here also we can have DFF columns are there. So if you press the show additional attributes, you will see the DFF columns. Okay. So I am going to enter the data here. So before I enter the data, any questions you can ask me is. So I will enter the P something. So whole sheet, only one batch ID data will be same. Whole sheet, batch ID data is same. 3 you can mention create. You can mention create. Batch ID should be changed. Yeah, correct. Correct. So here I will mention ABX for private limited. Hmm? Prospective. So DUNS number, we will enter some wrong data. So usually DUNS number will take 13 characters or 9 characters, but I am giving the wrong data. Taxpayer country also wrong data I will give USD. So US is there, I am giving the USD. Taxpayer ID also something you can give wrong. Okay. Now remove this data. Corporation. DUNS number. DUNS number you can give wrong data. Taxpayer ID. XYZ, XYG for supply type is supply, right? Okay. Supply, okay. Now generate CSV file option. Generate CSV file after you prepare the data, save. After you prepare the data, generate CSV file option. After you prepare the data, there is a button called generate CSV file. So click on generate CSV file. Click on generate CSV file. So interface table file name should be this one, and it will generate the zip file. And if you want to change the file name, so that's not a problem. CSV file also same name. So CSV and zip file have been created. So after you prepare the data, guys, once again I will tell you. Once again I will tell you. After you prepare the data, so there is an option called generate CSV file. So when you press the generate CSV file, the data, when you press the generate CSV file, when you press the generate CSV file, so it will create the zip file. Inside the zip file, CSV file will be there. So if you want, I will verify now. See, here zip file has been created, and inside the zip file, CSV file will be there. Anything do you want to show once again? Just press on this button, guys. It will save the. It will create the zip file. Inside the zip file, it will contain the CSV file. Understand, right? So after that, guys, what we will do? Generate CSV file. Button press. What it will happen? Generate CSV file button press. What it will happen? It will create the zip file inside the file. Prepare the zip file inside the zip file. It contains the CSV file. Generate the CSV file button press. It will create the zip file inside the zip file. It contains the CSV file. So what is our next step we need to do? Run the program. Which program first we need to run? Load interface file for import. So when we run this program, what will happen? First the file will be placed into UCM. Then it will load the data into interface table. First, the file will be placed into UCM, then it will load the data in interface table. First, the file will be placed into UCM, then it will load the data into interface table. Okay, now guys. Go to dev 1 2. Dev.1 tools, schedule process. Tools, schedule process. Schedule no process. Schedule no process. Run the program. Load interface file for import. Click on OK. So load interface file for import. How many programs are there? Import process and data file. So load interface file for import. How many parameters are sorry? Load interface file for import. We have a 2 parameters are there. Load interface file for import. We have 2 parameters are there. So what are the 2 parameters? Import process and data file name. Import process, data file. Load interface file for import, we have 2 parameters are there. Import process and data file is there. So import process. So which business object based table program you are running? Which business object based table ESS job you are running? For example, we are running supplier, right? Supplier base table ESS job name. We have to add here. How to find out the supplier base table ESS job name? So that yesterday I told you. Once again I'm telling you. OCI. Go to the OER. Search here. File based data import for procurement. File based data import for procurement. Mm. Well-based data import or procurement. Use search in the Google. Okay. No, it is not coming here. Okay. So here, if you go to the supplier, import supplier, here you will find the base table ESA job name. Import supplier is the base table ESA job name. You need to pass like this. And data file, sometime immediately it will not come. Import suppliers. Upload in your file. Fbdi. Click on OK. Import process, import suppliers, data file name. Submit. Understand analysis. So there are two parameters we need to pass. One is import suppliers, another one is data file name. The zip file name we need to pass. So this import process name you will get from here. For example, if you are loading the supplier addresses, here the program name is import supplier addresses. Here you need to mention import supplier addresses. For example, if you are loading the purchase orders, import purchase orders, then import orders you need to mention here. Submit. So this is the process ID. Browse the data file. Browse the data file or zip file. Browse the data file or zip file. Okay. So when we run this program, one more important thing you have to remember. When we run this program, there are two child programs. There are two child programs will run, will get executed. In the program, there are two child programs will get executed. So click on OK. The load file to interface, transfer file. So this two also we have to understand, guys. Transfer file, load file to interface. Transfer file, load interface file to load interface file to transfer file, load interface file to import. So when we run this program, there are two child programs will execute automatically. So transfer file, what it will do, it will send the file to CM. Load interface file for import, what it will do, it will load data into interface table. So what transfer file will do, it will send the file to UCM. Load interface file to import, it will load the data into interface table. So see now here, click on, so it is error out, right? So load interface file for import as error out. Transfer file success. So the file has sent to the UCM. And because of this error, so this is game warning. So this is the main program name. So there are two child subprograms also will get executed. So now, how to check the errors here? How to check the errors? I will show you that. Okay. So now I will click on attachments. You see the log. You need to check the log. What is error? So in the log file, we are not able to find any error information. And also we'll check whether the file placed into UCM or not. Okay, so verify that. Search. Verify the file placed into UCM. See, file placed into UCM. Okay, the file has been placed into UCM. Okay, so now this program has failed. So this is success. So because of this success, the file has placed into UCM and load file to interface is there, right? So load file to interface, it will load the data into interface table. So this is, see, here we did not find any error. We did not see any proper information in the error. So we will go here in the load file to interface. Go here, open this bad file. So here also nothing is there. So I think maybe one more is there. So bad file we have downloaded, but here also we did not see any information. And open the log file. So now if you see in the last, I think we'll see the proper error message. So what it is coming, PWZ supplier interface table, 0 rows successfully loaded, 2 rows not loaded due to data errors. 2 rows not loaded due to data errors. So what is the data errors? Record 1 rejected, error on PWZ supplier interface table, column, tax country code. Tax country code value too large for the column. That means, so tax country code column maximum it will accept 2, but we entered 3. Understand or not? When we load the interface table ESL job, the 2 records has failed. By tax country code, wantedly we have given wrong data. It should accept only 2, but we have given 3. So that is the reason. Successfully data not loaded successfully in the interface table.
Vamshi, max 2 means it is a to string or to character.
Huh?
Here it is now maximum two values we need to insert in tax country code, right? It
Yeah,
is a string or it is only two characters. I mean, what we can define into.
that you can see in the control file, right? If you see the control file, you will see that. You open the control file, tax country code, see tax country code.
Okay, yeah, yeah, about this 37. Yeah, character 5.
Oh, character,
Mm,
the
got
character.
it.
Hmm? Understand, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now we need to correct the data. So what you need to, how to correct the data, you can mention US, US. Now what you will do, change the batch ID, B124, B124. Save the changes. Again, redo the steps, whatever I have done, right? So we need to redo all the steps once again. Generate CSV file, then run the program load interface file for import program. Then we need to pass the two parameters. The parameters we need to map, import supplier, then browse the latest file. These and all the steps whatever I have followed, same steps we need to follow after corrected the data. We will continue from tomorrow. Guys. Thank you. Take care.